Cam Dasani, what's going on, guys? I'm here with Max Bates. He's somebody that I met through the info space who is crushing it doing all things done for you sales for businesses, SaaS companies, high ticket companies. And I'm really just here today to kind of pick his brain and learn a little bit more about how he's gotten to where he's gotten. He's currently in Canada, but apparently going to south of France for a little bit because he's just doing so well. So Max, it's great to have you here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's start off just with, I'd love to learn, this is our first time meeting for anybody watching, so I'd love to just kind of hear your background and your upbringing and just the early days.
Sure. So I never thought I'd get into sales or anything like that, but I used to serve at a really nice restaurant, and that's kind of where I started learning how to get tips and that kind of stuff, as silly as that sounds. But we got a pretty high clientele, and I always was interested in real estate. I thought that's what I was going to do. And then I had an owner of a brokerage come in. I guess it was the first close I got because I just pitched him on myself. I was I hate this serving stuff. I want to do real estate. And he's well, I own a real estate company. And so eventually connected with him, and then started working with that company. And I was trying to fill commercial spaces or find new tenants or renew leases. It was the commercial leasing space. So I was cold calling, learning what sales was. So I was watching Hormozy and Cole Gordon and that kind of stuff on how to set and how to do all that kind of stuff. And I did that for a few months. Then I learned about the info space, bought a course on appointment setting and sales, took that random course that now I'm super good friends with the owner. I manage his sales team. I do a bunch of stuff for him, but he got me into the info space, or at least online high ticket space. Worked as a rep for a couple of years, setting, closing, cold calling, prospecting, everything. Eventually started managing that guy's sales team, and then moved on to a couple bigger offers, and I saw guys that were making $1 million plus a month, and then guys that were managing those accounts, and I was I need to be that guy. I was making 10, 15K a month managing this other team, and the guy that was managing ours was doing 100, 150K a month. So I was that's a way better vehicle. I need to learn how to do that. So spent a ton on just learning the system side, getting better at managing processes, hiring, all that kind of stuff. And I've kind of built it out around that. And now I've been running this offer specifically for about a year, or about to be a year.
Nice. Question, who was the person, you said you started watching Cole Gordon, who's actually was my mentor back in 2020, I want to say.
Cool.
Who was your first, what was your first high ticket investment for yourself?
Yeah, it was in that sales program that I bought. It wasn't Cole Gordon's. It's, I don't know if anyone would know, but his name's Frank Kuman. He runs Appointment Masters. It's a sales training / placement company. So we had a B2C arm that was getting people like myself at the time in, learning sales, whatever. And then basically we're doing what I do now, but a bit more simplified. It was just building super simple funnels, plugging in a setter, getting them kind of off the ground if they were doing 5, 10K a month. And so we would place all those people that went through training into these kind of smaller accounts. So I invested, it was 3,000 euros, I think, into his program. Since then, I've done a bunch of stuff, but that was the first investment I had made into the high ticket sales space, learning sales properly, other than just working within it previously.
Gotcha. And then you kind of touched on this a little bit, but in terms of how long were you an employee, I guess, in setting, closing, before you decided, hey, it makes sense to start my own thing?
Probably a little over 2 years, because it was 2022 when I started doing the real estate thing, and then it would have been late 2022, I think, when I got into the high ticket space, and then I started running this offer about a year ago, so 2024. So yeah, give or take 2 years or so. But mind you, it wasn't just one role at a time. I always had multiple offers at once. I jam my calendar all day. If someone wanted to book a call with me at 4 a.m., I was taking it. Or if I got a live call at 1 a.m. or midnight, or it doesn't matter. In the middle of dinner, I was taking it. I just took everything I could. Call when I wasn't on calls. I just got indoctrinated into it, and I was this is going to feed me for the rest of my life if I get really good at it.
Yeah. And the more calls you take, the better you'll get, obviously, right?
Yeah, that's just a volume game, bro.
On the last podcast I just hosted, I was talking about how eventually you get to the point where you no longer have a script, even if you have multiple offers, right? And as somebody who sold multiple offers for others, I've never done that, but I sell multiple offers for myself, right? And I don't have a script for any of them. I think I had written one when I first started, but the reality is I just know how to have the conversation because all my offers go together depending on where you're actually at in life, right? So as somebody who like says, I think I've hacked, I don't want to say hacked life, but I understand the steps to get to where I'm at, which is where most men want to be at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. So I put those things together and I pitch them individually while simultaneously in the same call, because I help people understand like, hey, like at the end of the day, if you don't have this, then you need this. If you don't have this, then you need this. And like, this is the order of operations. And on the point of order of operations, you just said, well, yeah, I worked for 2 years for someone else before I took the leap to start my own thing. And I see a lot of business owners that have never sold for anyone else that just like kind of start. And I think that's a big, big mistake because, bro, if you haven't proven that you can sell for someone else that already has success on the marketing side, on the brand side, why would anybody buy from you?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really touch on this because it's not super relevant to do with like this offer that I have now and sales, but like throughout the middle of me selling real estate and working at that restaurant serving, I tried doing like a test prep tutoring company. So it was like connecting people that were taking LSATs, MCATs, GMATs. I don't know if you know what those are. They're like standardized tests to get into like med school, law school, business school, whatever. And basically, I would just doing like semi-private classes for $40 to $50 an hour, and then I'd pay a tutor to run that class for $50 an hour as well. So I was like, thought I found this like super sick arbitrage, and I had a super hard time selling it. I made some money, but not a lot. And at the end of the day, it's because I just didn't know how to sell it. Like I somehow found leads and got people that's somewhat interested, then I couldn't get them to give me money, or very few people to give me money. So. Yep. Now, obviously, my offer is based around sales, so it's kind of funny that way. But like, if you want to have any business, and I'm biased because I live and breathe sales, but like, you can start any business and get it off the ground if you know how to sell it. Like, if I didn't know how to sell myself or any sort of offer, I'd have a super difficult time making any money with this. Again, this offer is based around sales, so it's really all kind of working together. But if I wanted to go back to selling test prep tutoring now, I bet I could do 6-7 figures a year with it because I know how to sell. Whereas before I was like struggling to get people to give me like $250. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You remind me of actually an old client of mine who, he's a doctor and he wants to start, and very high paid doctor, by the way. Like, I don't want to give away too much info because he knows I'm going to be talking about him. But he wants to start like a med school offer, like helping people get into med school and like go through med school. And he's like super passionate about it. And I like that he's passionate about it, but I'm like, hey bro, like you've never sold high ticket, let alone anything, right? And you're just gonna have a hard time just like starting running. Like, it's not just as simple as like, hey, run ads and like clients will come and they'll close. Like, bro, I've been building a personal brand online for years. So I get a lot of organic traffic, I get a lot of referrals, and my ads work because I have a personal brand. Right? So I told him, why don't you're in my program, just sell my shit. Like, it works. You're in it and you're making hella money on the trading side, right? Which is one of my things. And he like brought me a couple people, but he's so like, he doesn't understand the order of operation. I'm like, bro, like, first of all, the med school offer, not to downplay it, but that's a 4-year commitment for people. That's very hard to sell, and it's a lot of your time that you need to commit to these people. So like, you're not really thinking on a fulfillment level versus they're gonna pay you and pay for med school? Shit. That's a long path for somebody to commit to. I don't even know if I could sell that, me personally, because it's just like a hard offer to sell. Like 4 years? That's college, right? Yeah. Like, yeah. So
you gotta be good at sales to sell it. Like,
really
there's no way around it, unless you already have somehow built a massive brand and like people like you, then it's a lot easier to sell stuff. But like, if you're just a no one that's serving at a restaurant or whatever, like should they have any reason to trust you or think that the product that you're going to deliver them is actually going to be worth it? But if you have sales experience or sales skills, then you can kind of not skip that, but it means less when you actually know. I think the most important thing with anything, selling whatever, is just understanding like who you're talking to and what they actually want. If you can articulate that to them in their own words without them even necessarily having to tell you, then like that's a good salesperson. They, like going back to what we said earlier, like they don't rely on a script, they don't rely on a framework even. They just understand like who am I talking to, what are their needs, what are their wants, what are their desires, what are their pains, without them having to necessarily tell it to you in detail. And if you can paint that picture for them in their own head of what they're thinking and what they envision their life to look like because of your product, then you can sell anything at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and on that point, I think that's actually one of the reasons I went from years ago selling one very specific thing to now a whole suite of things, and I have fulfillment partners for all of it, because I was like, damn, it's way easier to actually sell the same client on more things than it is to get a brand new client, right? I'm sure you can resonate with that. So at the same time, the thing that I used to sell a long time ago, I was like, this helps a very small group of people, you know, but I have just way more value to offer, and I'm just not selling it because Hormozy told me to sell one thing.
Yeah.
Right? And now I'm making more money than I ever had. I just had a record week because I have multiple things where like people see success in one thing, they come back and buy the next thing because they're like, well, Cam is the fucking truth. Let me come back and do this next thing that he has, right? And it all correlates together. I'm curious to know, and I do want to talk about your business and stuff as well, but I'm curious to know on the sales side, like, what is your like style, or why do you think people buy when you speak?
I think that I've found a balance between like sales tactics and whatever with kind of just like no BS. I don't know. It's a mix of like logical and emotional. I've sold a ton of B2C, so I got super used to the emotional. So like I've sold BizOp, I've sold fitness, I've sold dating, I've sold like a lot of emotional based offers where like that's how you tip people over. But now, obviously, with things being B2B, and I got some experience with it with Frank because we had that B2B arm. I was also closing those people. I think I've just found a good mix between the two where, like, I can ask questions where, like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to pry them open emotionally a little bit. But especially if I'm talking to a business owner, I can't sit there and be like, well, why now? Like, they're not buying that.
Yeah.
You know, but if I can frame it as like, hey, man, you sound like a smart guy. Like, why not just, like, do this on your own? Or it sounds like you've got a bunch of team members that could potentially bootstrap something together for you. Like, why do you need external help? All of a sudden, it's like, that's an emotional answer. Oh, I don't trust them with it, or it might take too long, or I don't really know what I'm doing with it. And now I can back it with logic. You know what I mean? I also just think it's kind of what Hormozy says, but like having a good offer is like that does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. In my experience, like it's just pretty easy to sell this offer. Like a lot of people don't like doing sales. A lot of people aren't techie, don't know how to set up their back end. They don't even want to think about piecing together automations or using AI or anything like that, but they know they need it. You know, so not that it's like a super blue ocean. Sales has been around for a long time. There's other people that do what I do, and there's all those little 19-year-old growth operators with like scaling info in their bio that don't know what they're talking about. But like at the end of the day, if I can, again, understand who I'm talking to, what do they want? They don't care if they have 10,000 Zapier automations that look fancy and whatever. They just want more cash in the door at the end of the day, or to spend less time in their business, right? Or have it save them money.
Can I, after this call, can you work with somebody who's young, not like his English is normal, but the reason he needs help with sales is because he has a very good offer, he has good ads, he's not that good at English, and he needs English closers, which I'm trying to help him with, but I think he actually needs you more than me.
Sure. Yeah, easy. We have our own like internal pool for hiring talent. So if you want people, I give away setters and closers for free.
Easy. Okay, solid. Cool. Yeah, I can like hear, like, given that this is our first time talking, I think we have similar styles. As someone who's sold software for 8 years, I've sold for small startups, I've sold for big companies, I've sold high ticket B2C. Everybody has their own opinion on this, but like, yeah, for me, my style is like, I'm pretty brash, to be honest with you, bro. And I think obviously, look, we're way better. I think every founder is better at founder-led sales than they would be selling something else. It's just the reality, right? It's the trust, it's the brand, it's they're talking to the person that they saw in the content or whatever it is. Sure. With that said, there's certain people that I've had to appeal to, and that's part of sales, right? Appealing to the person you're talking to in a way that is truly not me. And I remember, bro, I had a client close this week that was like very smart guy, like a physicist, like super duper smart. And he was like, you know, Cam, for someone as successful as you are, you're really not arrogant. And I hear my girl in the other room just laugh because I'm a fucking arrogant prick. But he didn't think that because I didn't treat him that way, because why would I treat him that way? There's no point. But there's certain people that need to be pushed in a level that I can push them, and I know their personality will understand that. He wasn't one of those guys, right? He actually didn't need to push at all. He got it. But I was very soft with him because that's who he is. And, you know, now I'm going to change his fucking life at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, but I at the end of the day, I think even in B2B, it's a different type of emotional sale, like you just said, right? It's like, you're not going to say, well, why now? But there's certain questions that make sense in software even that I'll ask where it's like, okay, well, like, is there a reason that you just don't keep using this?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's just, it makes more sense.
Yeah, rather than being like, yeah, they can see through the bullshit, you know? But if you're good at, again, it literally just all relates back to like, who are you talking to and how can you frame your question asking? How can you frame your offer, everything to appeal to that person? Like, bro, I sold like marriage and dating coaching repairs for like 10 to 15K tickets. So like a lot of money, and to people that were like in distress, which like sounds terrible, but like I was a completely different person. And the guy that I was selling for was like a 45, 50-year-old man. Everyone I'm talking to is in their 30s to 50s. And I was like 22 or 21 at the time. Like, wow. I had to be a different person. Like, as terrible as that sounds, it's still me, obviously. But like the way I'm talking to a 49-year-old woman who's like in the middle of a divorce that's going to cost her $250,000 is way different than I'm talking to a 20-year-old that wants to sell trading or wants to start trading. I mean, you know, it's just a way you need to adapt.
Yeah, and there's nothing ethically wrong with that. The reality is, like, bro, my cousin's a bankruptcy lawyer. Like, he helps people that are already about to be fucked get unfucked, and he charges them for it. Yeah. So it's like, what else are they gonna do?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, as long as you have conviction, then like you're doing them a disservice by not trying to help them. And if that means you need to form yourself to who they are as a person, then like that's what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, the way I see sales is like if they're on the call with you, they want to buy your thing. Like they're trying to justify it in their mind, and it's your job to help them do that. And if you are just letting them get off the call and continue to not take action or to not try and solve whatever it is at hand, then like you're doing them a disservice. They're coming to you for a reason to solve that problem, and you just have to, again, maneuver yourself the right way in order to show them that like this the logical next step to do, you know. For sure.
And look, like I'm sure you've had failures, right? As we all have. And like for me, the biggest, not even really failure, but like the first thing I ever sold, for people that don't know, like years ago, and I still have this in my ecosystem, but I actually work with a partner that's a lot bigger and better at fulfillment than I am. And not saying I wasn't good at fulfillment, but I taught people dating the hard way, which is what I learned, right? Which was cold approach. And I'm still very good at it. It's how I have had a lot of success that I've had. But my fulfillment partner now, his name is Brian Marcasano, New City Mastery. He teaches people how to build social circles, which through Instagram ads. So you can get a funnel of people to a party of your own. You have frame, you have power. And now you can use the verbal game and the communication skills that I know, and we kind of combined our stuff together, and he does all the work, right? So, you know, with that said though, I've also sold dating for, I don't want to say his name because we still have a relationship and I don't know how he would feel about me sharing this, but I sold dating for another coach. He fired me in 3 days, bro, because I didn't close anybody in 3 days in like 3 live calls. And I'm like, bro, these people were dead broke, not even in a country with financing. What are you talking about? Like, this has nothing to do with me. And like, he was like, yeah, man, we just can't afford to give you any more leads. I'm like, I think you just wanted to see how I sell because you knew I already sell my own thing. And I just took it like to like get some more deals in because like my lead flow was slow. But my point is, bro, like I don't know how well I even would have done on that offer because I think look, like I'm really good at software sales, selling for other people. In the high ticket world, I'm really good at founder-led sales because it's my shit. I know everything about it. I know it works. And I think the trust is there because they've seen the personal brand already. The marketing is there and it makes sense and it all aligns with what they want. Whereas like, I don't know, maybe I'm not as good of a closer as I actually think I am. I think my business partner is actually a way better closer than me. He's made $40K a month consistently for a year in B2C high ticket sales selling for someone else before me and him partnered up and started our own thing on the sales side, on the sales training and job placement. I know he's better than me. That's why he does the fulfillment. I think on a founder-led level, I am really, really good. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no point trying to sell something that you don't have conviction in, or I don't know, you don't have an edge on. Like, I wouldn't sell fitness coaching to women necessarily. Not to say I couldn't sell it, but like, it's just
they
like
don't want to be you
not
at
the
the end
best
of it.
vehicle for me, and I can't even like try and relate to them. Like, I have an offer that I'm managing right now, and I won't say the name either, but she's in the breathwork space. So she teaches people breathwork, whatever, techniques, how to facilitate it for other people. They get certified, they can add it to their practice, whatever. I would be a terrible closer on that offer. I still think I could close, but
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not my wheelhouse. I
Yeah.
could still adapt, but yeah, there's definitely buckets I think I'm stronger in, like yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about now the transition from employee to business owner. What was that like? What hurdles did you have to overcome? And what ultimately took you to where you're at now? Like, what were the things that needed to happen?
Like, initially from like serving to like being a cold caller, or you mean from being a sales rep to doing the offer that I do now?
From high ticket selling to the offer you do now.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm pretty aggressive with like my pivots and like just honestly like the decisions that I make. I probably wouldn't suggest that like most people do it. You need to have like high risk tolerance. And I'm not saying this like boost my ego, like, oh, I'm so risk tolerant and I'm so aggressive, but like I will spend like every dollar in my account or go into debt, like go over on my credit card to like buy access to someone ahead of me, or to buy access to a course or a program or whatever. Like, that's what I did about a year ago. I had, I don't know, like maybe 8 grand in my account, and I bought a 10K program. And I was just like, I'm gonna make it work. At the time I was closing for 2 offers, I bought that, dropped one offer, the offer that I was closing on, which was the marriage dating coaching thing. He had a big platform. I knew he could do super well, and they were open to like me building their CRM and setting up like their sales data and all this different stuff. And so I didn't even like have confirmation yet. I had a call and they were like, "Yeah, we'll see." And I was like, "Nah, I'm closing it. Like, lose the other offer. I'm buying this program so that I know how to fulfill it." Like, some people would say it's like getting ahead of yourself, but I just was like, if I put my back against the wall and like I have no other option but to make it work, then like I will figure it out. And so far, it's been true every time. It's been zero investments like that I've made, or decisions to pursue something like that where it's burning other bridges, or not really giving me an escape route. And I've always figured it out. So like, I don't know, my confidence now making those bigger moves, I'm sure it will dissipate as I get older, and I can't maybe afford to do that because I would lose too much. But my mindset is like, bro, I'm still so young. If I fuck up for the next like 5 years straight, like I'm still okay. I'm
Yeah.
27, like I can still figure it out. So it was just, that was a transition. I had an opportunity ish. I bought a
Yeah.
program, so I was like, if I get it, I need to be able to fulfill it, and I don't want to like lose this potential money. And then I got one, and I got him closed. I still was closing for him just because I needed cash flow. I closed him on like a done for you one time build, but that was enough proof to me to be able to be like, okay, I can definitely like have this be an offer. Like, I just sold this, I can do it again for sure. And so I found a couple more clients within the next like month or so, and then I stopped closing for him, started managing. That's when I was done being a sales rep, and I was just managing and building systems, managing ops, all that. Um, I've done that a bunch. Like, I can't think of other examples that are quite as ballsy, but like I'll have, I don't know, my business does 5 figures a month, and I rarely have more than 10 to 15 grand in my account at once, because it's just like, okay, what's the next thing that I need to break this next bottleneck? Who do I know that would be able to give me the best context, who has been where I am and it's also where I want to be? And then I'll buy 5 calls off you for 5 grand, or 3 calls off you for 5 grand if I think it's enough.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, dude, because my risk tolerance has continuously increased as I've gotten older, actually, and gotten more experience in the field that I'm in the sense that, like, when I was 22 years old, I was so scared of, like, being wrong that there was nothing about my life that was risky. Like, I wouldn't approach girls. I wouldn't, like, buy any program over like $300. Like, I just like, and I was wondering, I'm like, oh, well, online education is a scam. It's like, no, bro, you're paying for a cheap ass program. What do you think the fulfillment's going to be? Just logically think. Whereas like when I paid Cole Gordon 10 grand, oh, he fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right? Because he can't not fulfill. Also, I put in the work And that took me to an Airbnb coaching offer where I sold and made 10 to 15 grand a month and was a top performer, and then realized, damn, this business owner that I'm working for is making 200K a month and I'm one of his top closers. But I understand his system. What can I build that's mine that I can really fulfill on? And I started with dating coaching. And then I realized, damn, this is a very small market of guys that are willing to pay a premium price for dating coaching. But I can also help people in a lot of other things. And they'll probably be willing to finance it because there's actually a direct ROI on the financing. Whereas with dating, financing is a little harder to sell in my opinion because there's not a direct ROI. Same with fitness, right? So then I stacked my offers. I was like, cool. Let me sell sales training and job placement. I have a whole network of companies that I'm not using because they all know me through Cole, right? Let me just place people here and let me train them and find a partner that's really, really good to train. Did that, have that now. And then I realized, I'm like, dude, I've made a ton of money investing over the years. I know really well what I'm doing because my team of traders is from Goldman Sachs. Used to work at Goldman. No one else has that pedigree that can talk online and say, oh, we're good at trading. It's like, does your trader have an actual background? Has he built an algorithm for Goldman Sachs? No, he has not. That's why people close with me. So, because we make $2,000 to $5,000 a day trading. It's absurd. So, the point is, risk tolerance though. I spent 100K plus to get here, bro. You know, I know what it feels like to have less. What did I have in my account? I probably had a little more than 8K, but I still spent 10K on a credit card with money I did not have and put an interest payment plan. I paid interest. People, I don't want to pay interest. Why? Like, what? It doesn't affect your credit as long as you pay the interest on time. And either way, people are like, oh, I have a good credit score, but I don't want to use my credit. What's the point of having credit? It's like saying I want to have a big house and have nobody come over. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Not even living it. Like
You're not even living it, right? Just have a big house. It's like, dude, it's like saying I want to, you know, some people collect watches, right? Like this, whatever. Cool. I wear my watch when I go out. I wear my watch to networking events. I don't wear it every day, but I'm not going to collect a bunch of watches to have them sit in a safe. That's just not me. I've never understood that. I'm not going to buy cars to have them sit. I'm only going to buy a supercar if I know I'm going to have the time to drive it and enjoy it. So I really resonate with the risk tolerance thing. What do you think, where do you think that comes from for you? Or did you always have it, or was it something that was built over time?
I don't know. Like I can't think of other examples where like I was put into that situation. And I don't know where I heard it from or who told me, but I've just always kind of like thought through the frame of like you need to create an environment where it's just like difficult to fail. Like if I look at all my controllables, like the house I live in, who I hang out with, the things I do on a daily basis, like are those things more or less likely to get me to where I want to go? And then you can take it to the extreme of, you know, if I have access to these resources or these people or whatever, is that ultimately going to be able to get me closer to where I want to go, provided I fulfill? If yes, then I'm willing to do it. Mind you, I'm not just like throwing money out at anything and like, oh yeah, it's abundant, it's going to come back to me. Like it's all very aligned. Like it's for this business. It's for something specific within my business. You know, like I spent $5,000 to have someone show me just how to build a project management system. Like I probably could have done that on YouTube, sure. But I understand that like, okay, this person has exactly what I need. Let me just go to them and get it done in a tenth of the time, rather than like, oh, well, how do I connect this field? And like, no, just show me how to do it. And like, I know it's going to serve a purpose. Now I can fulfill more. I can give my dev team a platform to go off of to build things. And now I don't need to be involved in it. That's another bottleneck removed, you know? So it's all within the same like vision, I guess, but it's just focused.
Yeah. No, I've done the same thing. And I've also like negotiated certain things, right? In the context of like, okay, I know sales, cool. I need to learn ads. I need to learn cold traffic. I remember I paid an agency that actually, for my dating offer, it worked really well. I even wrote them a testimonial. There happened to be a Facebook ads algorithm update. I don't know if you remember, if you know this, like in 2024, a lot of people's ads campaigns got fucked in like February, March of 2024. Mine was one of them. No one could fix it for 6 months, so I was like, shit. Okay, somebody has to know this stuff. And I even told different agencies. Now I work with a really good agency, 3 Second Media, shout out to them. I negotiated them down to a certain price because and maybe they won't like me saying this, but I basically told them, hey, I don't need help with scripting. I know how to make content. My content works. I get organic. If my organic wasn't good, I wouldn't have customers coming from organic. I just want to run the same things as ads. What I need from you is to make sure it works in Meta. That's it, because Meta is such a pain in my ass and something that they ban my ads. They say it's not the right format. The dashboard crashes. I just don't want to deal with it. What do I need to pay you to make you do this for me? They said this amount. I said, cool. Well, I just made 60K this week because of their service, because my Meta ads run successfully. Okay, so like you said, in the wheelhouse of what makes sense. But I've spent over 100,000 figuring this all out, and it bothers me when people are like, this doesn't actually happen that much, but it seems to me, I don't know if you feel this too, that people at the lowest will typically not change, even if you give them an opportunity to.
Yeah.
Because they'd rather believe that they can't do it than like maybe go into like $5,000 of debt to not be poor for the rest of their fucking life.
Yeah. Like you're already on that path anyway. Like you might as well kind of interrupt the pattern, It's like either literally going back to what I said, it's either this or nothing. You don't do it now, you're never going to do it.
Yeah. Let's I want to close out by talk about what you do, and because we can also explore like our synergy, right? We've talked about how like I train people in sales and I get people jobs. You hire obviously experienced closers, right? But you also do a lot more for companies, and I'm just curious to know where I can add value to you. So can you talk a little bit about like what type of businesses you work with, and that way I can see who I can introduce you to?
Yeah, so I started in info just because that's what I sold as a rep, majority. Again, I did commercial leasing. I've sold for SaaS companies, like an Amazon ad tech company. I've sold for, like a lead gen tool in like the health space. So I had experience outside of info, but I knew info best. I knew how leads were getting onto a calendar basically, and then the software and the tech that I was using to manage them and track them and whatever as a rep. So I was like, I can for sure build this for other people. And I know how valuable it is as a rep, because when you don't have it, you're in shambles, like you're bleeding money all over the place. So I started in info because that's what I knew. But again, I had some prerequisite understanding and knowledge from the couple other offers that I was on. And then just through the space and meeting people, obviously I've learned about that. And just the referrals, like people will have a business that's outside of info, but if they hear this guy is the guy to go to for anything sales systems or ops or whatever, then eventually those conversations came up. And so I still will kind of just take anything that comes across my table, provided the price is right. And I'm happy to just get exposure. So now that I can see in the grand scheme of things, the info space is actually tiny. Yes, there's a lot of money to go around, and yes, there's a lot of people that can use what I do, but I mean, what is it worth as an industry? A few $1 billion probably. There's companies that are worth that on their own, and there's lots of those companies. And there's lots of companies that are worth less than that, but in total, just the broad scope of business, there's trillions of dollars going around outside of info. So it was eventually the space, I'm sure it'll be around for a while, but it changes way faster than normal business. All these new age principles that we apply to info, where your ad platform stops working, or there's a new meta in terms of content and what brings in organic leads. That stuff changes way faster than just how people buy, I don't know, something at the grocery store, for example. All that stuff moves a lot slower. And so it's just why don't I just apply these kind of new age sort of principles to old school businesses, where to them it's a groundbreaking. They don't think about speed to lead all the time. A local business that runs a dental clinic, they just get leads enough. They come in the door, but there's probably millions of dollars that are sitting around because they don't have the right infrastructure in place, So started in info, moving more towards that enterprise B2B side, potentially beyond that at some point. But again, just keeping the work within what I'm somewhat familiar with, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But anyone that has a sales team or needs operational systems or sales systems or anything to do with making more money or keeping your business efficient, I can help them for sure.
Love that. Well, I'll probably be needing you soon. Right now, I haven't had any pain really, and a lot of people pitch me on stuff, and they I don't know if it's AI or they're just DMing me over and over. I'm like, hey man, I don't really have any pain. That's my response. I'm just I just don't right now, and I will. I know I will when I get to that point where either there's too much that is going on manually that needs to be automated, and obviously you know how to do that, so you're going to be the first in mind. For sure. And guys, this just shows you, like, for anybody listening that is not a business owner, right, which a lot of my followers are, I practice what I preach. Like, I'm willing to invest in somebody like Max if it makes sense. The same way you should be willing to invest in somebody like me if it makes sense, or the next guy if it makes sense, or girl if it makes sense. It's just about understanding. There's a reason they say it costs to be the boss, and that doesn't mean you have to be a business owner boss. I'm saying the boss of your own life, meaning like. Why do you think people are successful? Because you think Michael Jordan didn't win a championship on his own, right? Allen Iverson never fucking won because he tried to do it on his own. That's my favorite player too. I'm not hating. It's just the reality. So you need to build a team. The reason I do these podcasts for you guys and for myself is selfishly for myself because I want to learn from people that knows things that I don't know. Max knows a lot of what I don't know. I know a lot of what he doesn't know, right? That's why we're both here. We both saw value in doing this. What are you doing, speaking to the camera now, to benefit your life? Are you connecting with people that make sense? Are you willing to pay people that make sense? If you're not, you're fucking losing. I don't know if you agree with that or if that was too brash, but
No,
that's
100%. You don't need to be a business owner either. Like using the example of an athlete, like, yeah, I could go to the gym and train every day on my own and like I'd probably get better. But if I had someone like Allen Iverson to teach me how to shoot, I had someone like Kobe to teach me how to dribble, like, do you think it's more or less likely that I get better at that thing versus trying to do it on my own, or doing it on my own and actually doing nothing about it because it's just like analysis paralysis of, oh, it's uncomfortable, you know?
amazing, dude. Where can people find you? Where can business owners find you?
Instagram, Max Bates, or M Bates. Twitter, Max Bates. LinkedIn, Max Bates. Starting YouTube, so Max Bates on there as well. Need support on there.
Cool.
Or yeah, my website, mgbgrowth.com.
Cool. And guys, if you're not a business owner and you're a human being who wants to make a ton of money, there's two ways to do it. If you don't have 10 to 15 grand in your bank account, that means you don't make enough money. Okay, realistically. You need a high income skill. One of the best skills you can develop is sales. I have developed it. Max has developed it. What did it lead to? Both of us being very, very high level business owners. It's the skill you need first, my opinion. But it's worked for both of us. That's why we're here on this call. Second step, if you are somebody that already makes really good money and is looking for a way to multiply that, I have a team of traders. My lead trader used to work at Goldman. He built an algorithm for Goldman that makes them millions of dollars a week. Nobody else can say that. I can show you his LinkedIn at any point live on the spot. I can show you our trading results. We make $2,000 to $5,000 a day. If that's something you're interested in, you know where to find me. Profit with Cam on Instagram, YouTube. Those are my main channels. Instagram, you can DM me. That's the easiest way to access me directly. But yeah, Max, it's been real, man. Definitely have some business owners I want to send you right after this call, and we'll chat soon.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate it.
Cool.